Hello and welcome to IP Study Video Lectures. Today we are going to discuss chapter number 8 of grade 6 social science, that is embracing unity in diversity. Now, India is a very diverse country. In fact, there is no other country like India. And when I say that, it is not because I am a patriotic Indian, because of course I am, but truly, there is no other country in the world with as many languages, religions, ethnic groups living all together. And this is why India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, coined the term unity in diversity. Now, not just Jawaharlal Nehru or the Indian leaders, but even a very famous author, Mark Twain. You must have heard about him. He is famous for many story writings. He also described India as the cradle of the human civilization, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of legend, and the great-grandmother of tradition. So he used all these euphemisms for India. Why? Because he truly believed that our civilization, India's civilization, has something different to offer to the rest of the world. And while the entire world is understanding this importance of diversity now, India has always worked on this principle and has been proudly following it. And now we will discuss how exactly is India diverse. What makes our country so diverse? So the first topic is foods and flavors. Now, very yummy topic, isn't it? We all love food and we all love variety in our food. Just imagine you go to the market. You might eat chole puri at your home, but at the market you might want to eat masala dosa or dokla or any other kind of food, maybe momo. So, why do we have this cravings? Because in our country, we have so much variety of food. You go to any part of the country and you will find special dishes. If you go to the states in South India, you will find idli, sambar, dosa. You go to, the northeastern states, you will find very good varieties of northeastern food, thukpa or momo. Or you go to Maharashtra, you will find bhel puri, pav bhaji, all those foods. And of course, you know what all is available in different parts of the country. But the interesting thing is that no matter what the dishes are, the ingredients, the herbs, the spices, they are more or less the same. You will find the same ingredients which are making the different kind of food. So it is rice, wheat, maize, all these combinations of these items and the pulses, the similar kind of vegetables that you will find in almost all of these dishes. Take for instance the example of biryani. Now biryani is available in different parts of the country, but the preparation style is quite different in each part. Yes, the ingredients are the same. There is rice, there is maybe some vegetables, or in the case of non-vegetarian biryani, you have mutton, chicken. So all these things are there, but ingredients are same. But because of the different preparation styles, the biryani in different parts of the country tastes different, right? So that is the beauty of India. Same ingredients, but because the preparation style is different, or maybe the locally flavored, the local spices are different, the taste is different. Now, similar to that, the clothing culture in our country is also very diverse. You will find that the same kind of material, cotton, silk, wool, is used to prepare almost all of these different clothings, but the styles, the embroidery styles, how they are designed, all these things are different. That is why they look so different from each other. Take the example of sari now. So this map shows how in different parts of the country there are different styles of sari. You will see the different colors. In some you would say checkered patterns, some you would say some flowered patterns. So the sari styles are different. In just, you take example of silk saris, Banarsi saris, Kanchipuram saris, they are so different from each other. Then there are also cotton saris and all. And saris are worn all over the country, but the styles are different. Similar to that, even for the men, the dhoti, which is a very simple traditional garment, it also, the way it is worn by men in different parts of the country, it is quite different. In Tamil Nadu, it is worn in a different manner. In the northeastern states, it's worn in a different manner. There is a Bengali dhoti which is special for its checkered patterns. So all these kind of differences you will see. Now let's move to the next topic, that is festivals. First, we all know about national festivals which give us so much pride as Indians. They are celebrated all over the country. What are these national festivals? Yes, Independence Day, Republic Day and Gandhi Jayanti. But apart from these national festivals, we also have religious festivals, Diwali, Eid, Gurpurab, Christmas. All these wonderful festivals have different celebrations, different kind of feelings to them, and we all love them. We also have change of season festivals like Holi, Tej. So these festivals basically mark the change in season, right? So we have all these festivals which are celebrated in our country. It's a very interesting case study given here. The case study is interesting because two children are talking about the festivals which are celebrated in their native places. One is from Gujarat, so he's talking about Navratri festival, and the girl is talking about Durga Puja. So these festivals are basically talking about the same goddess Durga, but the celebration styles are different. On Navratri we play dandiya, which are played by sticks. We play those sticks to perform that dance. And at Durga Puja, celebration styles are different. There are pandas, there is decorations, lights, which is of course there in Navratri as well, but there are some differences in the culture of both the places. One is from Gujarat, another is from West Bengal, but yes, the kind of devotion is similar, the kind of festivities, the kind of course the goddess you are worshipping is same. So it's the same festival has traveled in different parts of the region, and it has its own beauty, right? That reminds me, we talk about the event that happened very recently, Mahakumbh. Mahakumbh was a great example of how people from different places came and celebrated in their own styles. So that is the true beauty of India. Now let's take another example of how one festival is celebrated in different ways in different parts of the country. Makar Sankranti is a harvest festival which is celebrated around the period of mid-January in different parts of the country. Now in Gujarat, it is celebrated as kite flying, and the festival there is called Uttarayan. In the northern parts of India, in Punjab especially, bonfires are lit. The festival is called Lohri. And in the South Indian state of Tamil Nadu, it is celebrated as Pongal. Now Pongal is a special rice dish which is prepared on this day to celebrate this harvest festival. In the Assam side, the festival is called Bihu. So on, you can see different places, the name is different, but it is the harvest festival which is being celebrated here. And now let's move to the last topic of this chapter, literary heritage. Since you were a young boy or a girl, you would have heard many stories featuring Thirsty Crow, The Lion and the Crocodile, and many others. Interestingly, these stories are told in different languages in different parts of the country, but the essence of the story is more or less the same. You would wonder, why is that? It's because many of these stories are sourced from Panchtantra. Now, Panchtantra is a collection of ancient fables that have been popular in many parts of the country. Apart from Panchtantra, we also have the Jataka tales. So in Jataka tales, the stories revolve around the previous lives of Lord Buddha, where he is reincarnated as different animal characters, and through these stories, different moral lessons are taught to the children. So that is why you see these stories are told in the different languages. Interestingly, the People of India project, which was conducted in around late 20th century, found out that India has more than 325 languages written in over 25 scripts. Now, what is the difference between language and script? So, like English is your language, Hindi is your language, but the script in which the letters are written, that is their script. So, it was found that more than 300 languages existed in India at that time, and you can add so many tribal languages, so many regional languages, or which are the little variation of these main languages. You will find that India is truly diverse. But the stories that we talked about, Panchtantra, Jatkate, these stories can be found in almost all of these languages. And similar to that, if you look at the two great epics of India, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, then these stories are also found in different parts of the country. If you look at any, of course, I hope you all know about Ramayana. It is the story about how Lord Rama defeated the demon king Ravana with the help of his brother Lakshmana and Hanuman. Or the Mahabharata, where the Pandavas with the help of Lord Krishna defeated their brothers Kauravas in a battle. So all these stories of great value are found in different parts of our country. You look at, you see, you visit any part of the country, the tribal groups, they will claim that these Pandavas, the Lord Rama, they have actually visited their villages. So this is how great the bond is among Indians, that no matter where you go, these stories also travel with them. So this is how we see that India is truly a diverse country, and no matter how different we are from each other, there is also a connecting bond, whether it's through common ingredients in our food, whether it is through the common fabric in our clothes, or the common messaging in our stories that really bonds us together as a country. So India is truly united despite its diversity. So coming back to the first topic that we discussed, India is a best example of a unity in diversity. So thank you so much.